Hello learners. In the last session, we were able to understand how to do the code for the common component. In this session, what I intend to do is convert the entire calculator screen into a stateful widget. I will also try and introduce to you to the concept of enum. Enum is kind of unique identifier that I can associate it with any particular value. Let's say in our case we have got 4 buttons: add, subtract, multiply and divide. What I can do is create an enum that can uniquely identify these buttons so that when I tap on them I can understand what operation or which arithmetic operation the user is trying to do. This will kind of help me optimize my code. If you want to know why and if you want to know how, tune in into the session. Let's dive into the session wherein the calculator screen now has to be a stateful widget in order to show the calculation into the app. So here I am adding a new class. Calculator screen extends stateful widget. I'll take the missing override and change this to calculator screen state, but this time I'll make it with an underscore. The underscore in front of the class resembles that we can use this class within this particular return calculator screen state only, which now makes my this class kind of protected from all the other classes to stop accessing it from anywhere outside. Now I'll try to remove this and keep my calculator screen within the triangle brackets. Over here where we are trying to do number 1 plus number 2 and storing the value in answer, let me do set state and then run my app from the very beginning to verify if I can see the addition to happen or not. So here's my calculator app. Let me close my keyboard, start calculator. I'll put 3 to 1, 1 2 3 and then click on add. Well, here I can see the entire answer to be there at the output, and in fact if I try to change the value, my answer gets updated. That kind of is good. That's because now we can try and duplicate this four more times, in which I'll change this to subtract, put a minus sign. For multiplication, I'll put an asterisk, and for division, I'll put in forward slash. So look how quickly just merely one button to be getting working actually made me open the doors for all the other button to be working. If I now try to do a hot reload, go on to my app, click on subtract, it works. Multiply, if you have a really fast brain, then probably you will be able to see even the multiplication to show a correct answer, and otherwise divide. Well, that's actually blissful. That's because you can now get all the things to be working, that too in a jiffy of time. If you're saying this is chimpanzee coding, then yes, we did chimpanzee coding. Look, what did we do? We added 4 buttons. We merely got our add button to be working We dumped the entire code and changed the symbols for each of them. The logic inside it, like printing, converting it to a double, and in fact even doing this addition remains same. Even the set state remains same. When it comes to Flutter programming, you should be trying to do minimum amount of set state. That kind of will help you writing a good code. Look over here, for 4 different buttons, we are trying to do 4 different set state. Kind of terrible. So let me explain to you how we can do this in a good way. Let's say we create a calculate function. Inside my calculate function, now I'm going to create calculator enums. So what is basically an enum? An enum can help us identify my buttons uniquely. Well, what do I mean by that? At present state in my screen, I have got 4 buttons. Let me create all the 4 of them with the help of enum. Multiplication button and division button. Now what I'll try and do, this calculate function is going to take one input enum, following which I will try to write based on what input enum we have different switch cases. Let's see, we have the addition button. Then I'll pick this number 1 and 2 and perform addition. Next, if I have my subtraction button, I'm going to perform subtraction. Next, if I have the multiplication button, I'll put an asterisk symbol to do multiplication. And then if we have the division, I'll put the forward slash and then do division. So what do you notice over here is the red underlines been there. Well, that's because I did not convert them from the string into a double, and now all the red lines have been gone. Look, this code is well optimized. That's because we did not write convert the number from the controller text into the double variable again and again. If you would notice over here, I actually had dumped that part for 4 times. Let me now even remove this if condition and wrap it over here. What I'll try and do, cut this entire part, put it inside the if condition, which basically means only if my form is valid, then I'll do the calculation. Otherwise, I'm not going to do. Outside the switch, I'll try and do set state. Now let me show it to you with the help of again my addition button, that why this particular code is kind of advanced and easier to understand. So right now we are inside our add button. So I'll put the input enum as calculator enums dot addition button. Let me copy this inside subtract, put subtraction button. Upon hot reload, and I think, oh, I forgot to put a colon here, and let me just try doing a hot reload this time. So well, what I'll try and do is change the numbers, and then I'll set this to 12, then click on add. Did you notice the add actually worked? In fact, even if I try doing a subtract, it works perfectly okay. Well, you would eventually agree I don't have the clutter for this piece of code to be there. Just one particular line kind of solves the problem for me. Hence, what I want you to think upon is not dumping the code as a student. In fact, you should be following good practices and try to create more and more common logic that can help you save time and also reduce the number of set states that you would do in the app. So why it's important of reducing the number of set states? Let's see, when I just go over here and click on divide, you see the numbers to change. Well, that is just not the case. Well, the entire build that's over here is getting recomposed, which means the topmost pixel to the bottommost pixel is recomposed when you do a set state. If you try to do set state over and over again, you are trying to redraw the screen over and over again. That kind of stays as a bad practice, as you're trying to say that you want to redraw unnecessarily, and that too not when in the context of Flutter programming. What I'm going to next try and do is over here, let's say if you want to have an additional functionality which you want to build for power. Let's say you have a number as 2 and you want to do 2 to the power 2. So in that case, you'll be having just one more button to get created, that is power button, and then accordingly write one more switch statement that can handle the power button. Well, just try this as a small assignment, and then we can move to the next step, wherein I'll try to have even a better design onto your Flutter app. Hopefully the entire calculator part, wherein you have created from the very scratch that input boxes, you decorated it with the borders and also implemented the set state for different buttons. In that case, all these things look very blim, as because this is just one of the base projects. In the next module, I'm going to work upon list. You'll probably not have any app that would not have a scrolling behavior. How to get that thing done, and that too in very much detail, I'm going to cover in the next module. So stay tuned and keep learning with open minds.